I think great entrepreneurs must have the curiosity to kind of metaphorically see around the corner. What's coming? What can I anticipate that other people don't see? We want to create the kind of company that people can look at and say, they're not better than anyone else, but I think they got it right. We've never been in the coffee business serving people. We've always been in the people business serving coffee.
And the hardest thing for all of us to do is to really stand up for what you truly believe in when you have the wind in your face and you're facing significant challenges and people who are skeptical and cynical about what you're trying to do.
I grew up in Brooklyn, New York in public housing, the projects as it was called back then. My parents were both high school dropouts and they could barely afford $96 a month rent in our two-bedroom apartment for my brother, my sister, and my parents. When I was 7 years old, I had a defining moment in my life. I came home from school one day and saw my father laid on a couch with a cast from his hip to his ankle. He had a series of terrible blue-collar jobs as a high school dropout, Army vet, but this particular job he had in 1960 was probably the worst. He was a truck driver delivering and picking up cloth diapers before the invention of Pampers. He fell on a sheet of ice in March of 1960. And in March of 1960, if you were a blue-collar, uneducated worker, you were dismissed if you had an accident. No workman's compensation, no severance, and no health insurance. And I saw my parents go through hopelessness and despair at the age of 7. And those scars, that shame, that is with me even today. As a young boy, I could have never imagined that I would one day build a company of my own, let alone a company that would have more than 26,000 stores in 75 countries and employ more than 300,000 people.
Business is a team sport. It's not about one person. And I think I learned that on the sports field. And specifically what I mean is success is best when it's shared. You have to be willing, I think, to share the spotlight with others. And if you look at the entire history of our company, what we've tried to do essentially is build a company that would balance profitability with a social conscience, and that started with our people. And what we've tried to do, I think, more than anything else, is recognize that you can't exceed the expectations of your customers as an enterprise unless you exceed the expectations of your people first. So we've never been in the coffee business serving people. We've always been in the people business serving coffee. And I mentioned earlier that unlike most consumer brands, the brand was really built by the experience. Somehow along the way, maybe because of the pressure of Wall Street or other shareholders, that we've come to believe that the sole responsibility of business is to make a profit. Now, I certainly believe that there is a deep fiduciary responsibility for every business to make a profit. But I think it's a pretty shallow goal if that is your singular focus and that is all that you stand for. And I also believe that you can't attract and retain great people if that's all you're in business to do. So the love and humanity is also about creating a value system in which the company stands for something in addition to making money, doing great things for the people that it employs and the communities it serves. I also believe that those businesses that do the right thing in the right way will make more profit as a result of doing the right thing. We created a place for people to come to that has created value in the marketplace. Now, I'm not saying that we have some cure for some disease, but I am saying that as a result of the things that we've done, we've enhanced the lives of many people who perhaps would not have anywhere to go if Starbucks did not exist. We've also created the kind of company that our customers and our people know that when we succeed, we are going to be actively engaged, involved in giving back to the communities we serve. Now, those communities are not only the physical neighborhoods where we have stores. Those are the 30 producing countries in which we buy coffee. Those are social services all over the world that we feel significantly that we want to be engaged in. And I think we want to create the kind of company that people can look at and say, they're not better than anyone else, but I think they got it right. And I think the mission statement is not about anything other than giving our people an understanding of why we do the things we do. And also trying to put it in a way where whether you are a 20-hour-a-week barista or, again, running a large division at Starbucks, you can see yourself in the mission and understand how you can participate. Being an entrepreneur, I think you've got to be open to the world. And you have to understand that there's so many things out there and you never know that there could be something, a little something, that could provide you with a whole new way of thinking, a whole new roadmap. And when I met Aldo Lorenzo and sat down with him, here was a guy who's close to 80, and he has one store, but that store is a shrine to what it means to being a merchant. And I wanted to sit down with him, despite the language barriers, and just be at the foot of the master, for however long he would allow me just to talk to him. And it's that kind of thing, I think, that I don't want to avoid being curious, and I want to avoid thinking that Starbucks Coffee Company and all of our people have all the answers, because the consumer has so many choices, and the consumer is walking by all of these stores, and they're seeing all of these things. And my interest is, how could we advance the company? How can we get better? And what else should we do in the future that leverages the infrastructure and the capabilities that we have beyond what we're doing today? I think great entrepreneurs must have the curiosity to kind of metaphorically see around the corner. What's coming? What can I anticipate that other people don't see? And then you must have the courage of your convictions to execute the strategy. Every decision is different, and certain people have different insight and different skills.
Going back to making people proud, what I'm really talking about is the fact that the foundational structure of any organization that is going to build something that is going to endure is culture, values, and guiding principles. And it's very easy to embrace the culture and values and guiding principles of a company when you have the wind at your back, because it's very convenient.
When things are going well.
When things are going well. And the hardest thing for all of us to do is to really stand up for what you truly believe in when you have the wind in your face and you're facing significant challenges and people who are skeptical and cynical about what you're trying to do. So the first thing I'd say is that I think you have to ask yourself and kind of write it down, what is your core purpose and reason for being? And I think that has to be like cemented into the company's culture. So everyone in the organization has an individual and a collective understanding that this is our core purpose and this is our reason for being, regardless of what happens.